to do a kind of feasibility study on it, and should get the opinions from various developers, and then we'll decide whether to go ahead with Hibernate or JPA. Then of course MySQL is something we will be using initially, but still is again a database layer, so you can use your own if you want. So that's the technology stuff. So I'm not going to discuss more on the technical side of it, because we will going to discuss every other thing in the our project site and get your opinions, and then decide on what we're going to do with this, right? So where are we now? So we have done quite a lot of work in our internal projects. Now we are in a position to move into this open source direction. So we have done some initial works on this. So we have created this project site and started some initial discussions. And for the starting point, so we can't just generalize everything. So for the starting point, we're going to use the UIs shown by Sayantan. Those UIs will be on SVN soon. Yes. So then the initial designs and development would probably be based on these UIs, but still we will be making sure that it's generic enough that any other UIs can be plugged in easily, right? How do we going to get the contributors to this project? So any open source project, we have to start with a few number of committers, so that the code base will be very clean, and the baseline will be built properly. So we'll get few committers from this kickoff meeting. We'll get the meeting. We'll get the project running on for some time with those set of committers and contributors. But still, those who want to join the project, they can subscribe to our user list. They take part continuously, and then convince the core project team to get them into the project and move on. So that's the initial plan. So can we move into the next slide, please? Okay, so let's discuss about some of these action items. So before going into that, can we take some questions on the architecture? Anyways, still far too early to discuss the internals of the architecture, because we are not yet done on that, but still
technical,
yes,
if you want to.
I think technical, any doubts, anything you can still ask. It's time for discussion anyway.
What's the specialty on Ruby actually?
Okay, Ruby is a dynamically typed language, so the development will be much easier.
Yeah. Use Ruby, but we have used Scala. So what's the specialty in Scala than
the thing is, most of us are probably from the Java background, right? So the Scala support of Java is really beautiful, and I personally prefer that it's statically typed nature, which Ruby doesn't have, right? So I think the systems like mChoice Vishma, we have lots of integrations done with the backend, and has a whole engine. So we need a kind of statically typed for the performance purposes and all, right? So for that purpose, we need Scala. And why didn't we go ahead with Java? Is of course the development is easy. By the time if you get used to Scala, then the development time will be, efficiency will be very high, and then you will experience that it has the right balance of using the functional and the object-oriented programming, which Scala doesn't have. So it's purely object-oriented. So that's probably the reason we decided to go ahead with Scala.
And I'd probably like to add something more to it.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more fashionable, right, JK?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's you know what.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Just joking.
That's all right.
Go ahead.
Okay, so moving on, we had to think about the action items now. So how are we going to get through this project to the next level? So the first of all, we need to consolidate our requirements, like the UIs what Sayantan showed. It's not final. the API is not final. So once we decide on the APIs, then the people can develop their own components independently. So we had to decide on those things. So probably we need a kind of requirements analyst like person to lead this requirement consideration. So any volunteers, please? Santhan, you would be the right person, I guess. So you know this in and out of the system, so we can still support.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Santhan might take over the requirements consolidation, then design blueprint discussion.
Arrange it.
There's no volunteer, then I will take over. Code contribution. So we need that initial set of developers. So because there can be some iterative works, like we design and do some mock-up works and then redesign. So we need some initial set of developers. So people who are interested in developing or want to learn Java, interested on this Vishma stuff, or want to learn Scala, please you volunteer yourself.
You can type in if you're online or joining online. You can type in, or you can just put up your hand so that we know that okay, you're interested in it, so that you can.
Yeah, there is a volunteer for
Okay,
you.
Sampath is there. Okay, and any more volunteers?
Okay,
Nipuna.
okay,
I can see
Nipuna.
Nipuna. Yeah, with his hand up, right up.
Right. So I think two of them are enough to start with, because anyway I'll be leading the team, so I will do some committing work also. So that's all right. Then the hard part of it, project management. So we need to plan the releases, making sure we all going on the right direction. So the person who has some project management expertise, then will come to volunteer yourself. Dulipa, yes.
Okay, good.
So that's it from my side. So Santhan, if you want to do something, or let's discuss if there are any questions.
Yeah, if there are any questions, we can take those questions. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions from the people online? Is there any questions? We can take those questions. Or public chat. Do we have questions in public chat? No. Okay, let me check on public chat so that those who are joining us from different places, we just want to make sure that we are not missing any of their questions. So, is anybody with questions?
For those who are joining face to face, there is a cocktail party after this, so feel free to join and have fun. I'm sorry guys who are joining from around the world.
Yeah, you'll be missing out a lot. Okay, so since there's no question, I'll I want to wrap it up with some observations. So we have a plan, we have touched on something big, and it's very exciting, and if we get it right, and we should get it right, as a community we'll be able to do something big and useful. It'll be pretty useful when you have a publishing API, a de facto standard. If we can define a standard with that sort of contribution, it will be very important for everybody. So it's something that something big that we have touched on.
Yep.
And I think it will be exciting for everybody. And don't think that the roles that we try to define or talk about are the only roles that we need to play here. We need every sort of role, and every role or every action that you take with respect to Vishma will be most appreciated. Whatever time that you can spend on Vishma, it will be great if you can spend. It's something which is valuable that you'll be able to contribute with respect to this. So if you want to work, you might be a developer, you might want to try marketing, or you might want to try writing up stuff, or you might want to do a documentation for a change, or you might want to do business analysis on this project. You are most welcome to do it. Or you just want to comment on what others had done on the UIs, just to come and say, okay, this looks good, this looks bad. Still, that's very useful for us, and we won't be able to do it. Okay, so We expect a lot of contribution from each and every person out there. So we hope to see all of you all very active on the Google homepage of Vishma.